Hail the war campaign. Hail, brethren. Hail the truckers out there and hail freedom. We've got Mr. Gathanzo with us. Pan, as you know, Pan every day with me on the streets of Ottawa. Well, we've got brand new news, and here it is, brethren. Let's take a look. Take it away, brother.
So this is from the CBC, and it says, Ontario court freezes access to funds raised for protest convoy on GiveSendGo platform.
That's
Order
right.
applies to Freedom Convoy 2022 and Adopt a Trucker campaign pages.
These are the two campaigns that we have been promoting heavily, and many others have as well. These are the two big ones on the GiveSendGo platform. As you know, GoFundMe did, in fact, cancel disbursement of the funds, citing basically hate, violent activity, that kind of thing, things that are completely incorrect. And after that, after some public pressure, they decided, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to send that money back. We're going to reimburse everybody. All right, so that money went, and then we went to GiveSendGo, and here we are on this platform now. And now that platform, 8 million it hit today, 8.2 million. These funds have now been frozen. Okay, well, let's take a look at this. Let's hit this pretty quickly, and then we're going to try to link a couple things together, a couple chain of events that have happened. All right, brother, take it away. Thank you, sir.
Would you like me to start at the highlighted there?
Let's take a look at these first two. I think the top three paragraphs are the key things over here because it really discusses how and why. And then I would like to hear your thoughts. Please, Pat.
Okay. The Superior Court of Justice has granted a request from the Ontario government to freeze access to millions of dollars donated through online fundraising platform GiveSendGo to the truckers' convoy protesting COVID-19 restrictions in Ottawa and at several border crossings. A statement from Premier Doug Ford's office on Thursday said Attorney General Doug Downey brought the application for the order under 490.8 of the Criminal Code to prohibit anyone from distributing donations made through the websites Freedom Convoy 2022 and Adopt a Trucker campaign pages. Ivana Yelich, spokesperson for Premier, said the order binds any and all parties with possession or control over these donations.
So I think what this means is if you've ever run any kind of campaign before, whether it's a GoFundMe or an Indiegogo, those campaign funds are always directed, or a Kickstarter, those campaign funds are directed at an individual. That individual's bank account is attached to the actual fundraiser. If it's if it is a registered charity, then the registered charity bank account is attached to that fundraiser. The disbursement of funds is made. They receive those funds. It sounds over here that Ivana Yelich, spokesperson for the Premier, says the order binds any and all parties with possession or control over these donations. So I wouldn't be surprised if whoever's account is the disbursement account for these funds, or if it's a charity or any other registered association, corporation, or anything else, then that will be those funds will be frozen. Let's take a look over here. Now, I want to, before we get into this, okay, let's take a look at this paragraph. Actually, let's take a look at these next couple of paragraphs coming down over here, because they've been trying to link things together here, Pat. Right? As you know, we live in an interconnected world. We help one another across this world, and we're all on the same side for humanity. But it seems to me like they're trying to link together, okay, international interference with being they call it international interference because they're saying that you're interfering, like you over there in Oregon, Pan, you'd be, if you sent me, say, $100 to pay for some diesel, the Fuel for Freedom, that would be international interference, brother.
Wow. They're trying to put a negative spin on a donation to a good cause. This says, hundreds of the GoFundMe donations to the Ottawa Convoy protests came from donors who said they were located outside of Canada, according to an analysis of data collected by CBC News. The analysis of a sample of more than 6,600 comments made on the GoFundMe crowdfunding page before it was shut down shows that 573 donations amounting to more than $33,000 came from people who said they were located abroad.
What do you think of that? What do you think of that right there? So they're doing
that's oh man, that's international interference, let me tell you. International interference. Holy cow, put them on a watch list.
right?
You
Oh,
know?
there is a watch list. They're talking about it, and we're going to get
What?
it. Yes,
Wait
there
a
is.
minute.
Yes, there is, brother. We're going to look at that in just a minute. It's called. We'll see. We'll look at that. We'll look at that in a moment here. But that's it. So look, they did an analysis of 6,600 comments made on the GoFundMe crowdfunding page before it was shut down, showing that 573 donations amounted to more than 33K came from people who said they were located abroad. So they're literally reading the comments section of the GoFundMe. You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's high-tech data analysis they have there. The comment section.
Right? Right? Okay.
Fantastic.
I know. And this is interesting to me. Okay, of course, we know the GiveSendGo has raised $8.2 million, but this is really key over here, right? Because these guys just want to talk. You know, we've heard the leaders of the truckers, Freedom Convoy, say this many times. They just want to talk. And then you got this last paragraph here in the CBC article that says,
also on Thursday, representatives of the Ontario government declined a third invitation to participate in a trilateral talk to deal with ongoing anti-vaccine mandate protests, sources told CBC News. Wow. Okay. So they don't want to talk.
third time they've declined. Third time they've declined. So that's where we're at. Okay. That's where we're at. And now those funds are frozen. They really, really want to starve out these people. All of us. They want to starve out us from helping them. They want to starve out the truckers who are actually out there in the cold. They want to starve them out. They've tried a few things. Now they're going this route. It's always something. Every day it's something. Fuel, cordwood, and now just literally stopping the flow of financial aid across international borders and even domestic borders, because this has got nothing to do with international or domestic at this point. It is literally all funding. Okay, so, and funnily enough, 6 hours before that at noon, CBC puts out this article. And we're looking at CBC specifically because this is the government broadcaster. We know they're funded by the government. We know they're cuckolds, right? There was a CBC cuck that I saw recently, and he denied that he was. So today, while we're going for a little stroll around town. In any case, here we go. This is 6 hours earlier.
It says, convoy protests could change the way money is monitored, says watchdog agency.
And we move down into this. Yes, go ahead, please, brother.
The use of American crowdfunding sites to financially fuel the anti-vaccine mandate convoy protests in Ottawa could lead to changes in the way financial transactions are monitored, a top official with Canada's money laundering and terrorist financing watchdog told members of Parliament Thursday. Testifying before members of the House of Commons Committee on Public Safety and National Security, Barry McKillop, Deputy Director of Intelligence for the Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Centre of Canada, FinTrack, said that there are likely lessons to be learned from the protest. It is really a unique event, McKillop told MPs. We will learn from this event. Yes, we will continue to have discussions with our international partners. That's certain. The platforms exist on the internet. They're accessible to everyone around the world.
Okay, and this kind of hooks up with you had Jagmeet Singh yesterday. Okay, what a disgrace, I want to say. What a disgrace to Punjab this Mr. Singh is. Anyhow, moving on. So this guy, he says this yesterday to CTV. Let's take a look here.
Protests target the laws or the government's decisions. Here they're targeting residents, people. They're ostensibly called a trucker protest, but they're actually impeding trucks. So it needs to be taken seriously.
Okay, so how would you stop the funding?
Finding excuses. It has to be about getting help out immediately.
Okay, so I don't know if the money would stop the protest right away, but this is maybe a long-term solution. What are you're worried about U.S. interference and foreign funding coming in, but what law would you determine what money could be sent to any movement? How would you decide, oh, this, you can get online funding for this organization and this cause, but not that cause? Like, you know, if it's not a criminal cause.
You see this? This is very interesting. This is where they're priming it. Okay, this is yesterday. So February 9th, this article comes out, or this video comes out, this interview. And now, one day later, we're on this foreign interference track, and we're on this extremist. He just mentioned, this presenter just mentioned interference, and let's take a look what he says here.
or they're not interfering with elections, by what law would you stop money flowing in?
So they're not involved with criminal activities and they're not interfering with elections. So what law are you going to use to actually strike them down over here?
Well, the foreign interference is about impacting the democracy. And
Okay, so foreign interference is about impacting the democracy. Now, those are really, Pan, I don't know about you, brother, but this to me, it sounds really vague. It's just impacting the democracy. Foreign interference impacting the democracy. What does that mean?
Well, they like to keep it vague so they can fit a lot of things into, the box that they want to put everybody in so that they can label them. So, yeah, I mean, it's just more buzzwords for these guys to set up their evil plan.
in this case,
So essentially, they're taking
Yes,
a law, using a loophole in a law that was originally designed to protect Canada from an external threat, and they're using it to their own political ends, basically, in order to stop the funding for what they would call, they want to deem kind of domestic terrorism, I think. They're kind of leaning that way, right?
Right. And you're
so
going to
this is an
sir.
example of an overreaching law. We have this in the United States as well. When they reenacted the Patriot Act, a lot of people were worried that they were going to use these laws and overreach, right? And so this is a classic example of them using a law not designed, intended for this, and kind of turn it to their own political gain.
And in this case, their goal was stated to replace the elected officials. It was very brazenly stated in their MOU. And so that's cause to say this is clearly an interference with our democracy to fund a group that wants to replace the democratically elected officials.
Okay, so because they want to have the government replaced, that right there is democratic interference is what he's saying here, and therefore, and it kind of leads up to the article 6 hours before that on the CBC, because everything fits together, because, we know that these operations work hand in glove. We know that all the different media organizations are on the same page. We've heard it, all the slogans repeated many, many times before, and we're going to see that over here again. So now you've got FinTrack. So what is FinTrack? That's a great question. What is FinTrack? And FinTrack is this Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Center of Canada. What do? Well, a big part of what they do right here is IMVE. Okay, they track IMVE. And what is IMVE? Well, let's take a look over here in these two paragraphs. Please, brother. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Pan.
It says, FinTrack and its American counterpart monitor transactions related to groups identified as being involved in what authorities call ideologically motivated violent extremism, IMVE. McKillop said that, to his knowledge, the Ottawa protest has not been identified as an IMVE-driven event. Any funding that would be linked to IMVE would be of extreme concern and importance to us, and we would disclose that intelligence to our law enforcement and national security partners, he said.
I think you got his voice down exactly correct. So you look at IMVE, you start taking a look. We got, they're saying that for GoFundMe, there is more than 10 million, over 120,000 donations. On GiveSendGo, 91,000 donations, more than that since Friday. That's an incredible amount, totaling more than $8.2 million. Many donors left comments indicating they had donated previously to the GoFundMe fundraising page. Well, that's great. They're analyzing the comments, so anybody can write anything, right? You do realize that. In any case, so let's move on here. And this is interesting. Again, it still cites that same thing about a review of the comments made by 6,600 donors, found that 573 donors said they were located outside Canada. And of those, this is written in an interesting way to mislead you, more than half of them in the United States. Because they're not saying half of the donations, they're saying of the ones that said they were located outside Canada, more than half of those are in the United States. So that actually means 250 plus about, what would that be, about 20. So about, 270, 260, something like that. That's what we're looking at here. Of the comments that they analyzed saying that they're inside of the U.S. Okay, now they're going to say over here that the data is available. Of course, when you give money, it's all digitally tracked through your credit card and everything else. This committee is going to be right over here. This is where they're going next. They're going to be bringing this committee. They're going to be bringing GoFundMe people on March 3rd, okay, to answer the MP's question about this fundraiser. And now this is really the key part over here. And I'm going to show you some let's read through these last two, and then we're going to actually look at what IMVE groups are currently on the list, meaning which ideologically motivated violent extremists are currently on the list and how they seek to expand that. So let's take a look here.
The committee also voted Thursday to expand the scope of its study to include the rise of IMVE in Canada, including the influence of foreign and domestic actors in funding and supporting violent extremist ideologies in Canada, and the use of social media to fuel the IMVE movement. The motion calls on the committee to examine the roles of anonymous and foreign donations, including those made through crowdfunding sites, and to call GiveSendGo, PayPal, and Stripe to testify.
So what are you going to testify on? I want to know. You can't know the heart of those people. You can't know whether or not they're terrorists. So all you can really tell is the data put in there. You can find their addresses. You can find their names. You can put them on lists. You can analyze that data and say who came from which state, who came from what part of the world. That's about it. Am I missing something here? Gal, what are you thinking, brother?
No, I think it's incredible that this is what they're actually basing their information off of. Like, you know, what are they even doing? They've got a guy that searches through comment sections trying to determine who gave what from where. So here's the thing. Those people could be lying. They could be totally lying. We know how the internet is. Not everyone tells the truth in the comment section.
Mm-hmm.
So who's to say Bill was from Minnesota and he donated? He could be Jan from Netherlands and donated, or, you know, anywhere, right? So
No. And here's the thing, you know, a lot of us have truckers in our family, or, you know, we do business with truckers, you know. Those truckers in Canada, it's cold up there, you know. I don't want them to freeze. So I want to send them some money so that they can stay warm. So wait a minute, I'm an IMVE now, or, you know, that's some form of terrorism because I want these guys to not freeze at night. I don't get it.
Yeah, and if you look at the IMVE put out by FinTrack over here, Public Safety Canada, so IMVE is currently on the list, okay? Let's take a look. Ideologically motivated violent extremists and terrorist listings. So if you scroll through this, okay, they're talking about how they've been analyzing all this, putting it together. Interestingly enough, the incels make it on this list. Okay, and you see this. This was the first terrorism charge laid against an IMV extremist in Canada, and the world's first terrorism charge given to an incel. This is talking about. Yeah, that's right.
Wait a minute.
That's right. I thought that was interesting there, just for all you incels out there, that you are on the list already. Just so you know, Canadian lists show you incels on that list. But let's move on, okay, to some of the kind of IMVE. Groups on this list, and then let's think about if that makes any sense when you start to talk about truckers in relation to this. So let's see here. We've got 13 new groups, and if you'd list them, please, Pan, let's take a look at these over here, if you'd be so kind, brother.
Yeah, the government of Canada has placed 13 new groups on the criminal code list of terrorist entities, including 4 ideologically motivated violent extremist groups, Atomwaffen Division, the base, I'm not sure if I'm saying these correctly, the Proud Boys, and Russian Imperial Movement. In addition, Canada has also listed 3 Al-Qaeda affiliates, 5 Daesh affiliates, Islamic State West Africa province, Islamic State in the Greater Sahara, Islamic State in Libya, Islamic State East Asia, Islamic State Bangladesh, and so on and so forth. And they want to put the truckers and the people that donated to the truckers on this list.
Yeah, I'm surprised the Proud Boys are even on this list, the same list as you got ISIS and Daesh and the rest, but okay, you know, moving on in any case. And then you got this again, 4 new terrorist groups, something called the 3 Percenters, Aryan Strike Force. You know, that sounds something like out of Star Trek, you know, that actually out of Star Wars, the Aryan Strike Force. We've got one fellow, James Mason, whoever he is, he's made the list himself, and then it's another Daesh affiliate. So these are IMVEs, okay? These are IMVEs, but because, as Jagmeet Singh says, that, you know, they want to change in the government, okay? They want to change things. That right there means that they're a threat to democracy as a whole, and therefore you got CBC, okay, in the same article right over here. The Convoy protests could change the way money is monitored. They're linking IMVEs in this article. So you tell me what that means. I'd love to hear your thoughts, brothers.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Well, honestly, it sounds like a scheme and a scam to me. This is one way to go ahead and list a whole bunch of money as being a terrorist donation and to swipe it. Where's that money go? That's what I want to know. What happens to that money when it's frozen? Does it go into the government bank account? Because it sounds like a scheme and a scam to me. Regardless, the people donated it for one thing. There was the problem with, they were going to close the original GoFundMe and donate it elsewhere, but then they reissued refunds. It's these platforms playing this political game is never going to be a good thing for them. So yeah, I don't know. What's the end game here? Are they trying to label, a soccer mom as a domestic terrorist, or a guy who's delivering frozen pizzas to your local supermarket? It kind of sounds like it, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Kind of crazy out there, man.
Yeah, it's wild. They want to label you and put you in a box, and that's what they're doing here. It's the same old tactics that they always use. And we're gonna report it to you. Hang with War campaign. We're supporting the truckers all the way.
Pat, before we head out of here, brother, if you'd be so kind, man, you've seen, right, you've been with me the entire way through, okay, and we've made our way through Ottawa, right, and I mean, peaceful, what's the word? It's peaceful, no? What's the word you would use, brother?
It's nothing but peaceful. I mean, everyone you talk to, you're going to find people from all walks of life, creeds and colors out there supporting the truckers in a peaceful, sometimes even festive atmosphere. The fake news media has a lot to say about the truckers, and hardly any of it's true. We're going to show you the truth on the ground, live every morning. A big amount of respect coming from me as an American to the Canadians, the truckers. You guys are showing the world how to get it done, how to demonstrate peacefully. You're showing the world what freedom is all about, and the world is watching.
Hell, brother, I've got faith, 100% faith, that you know what, we're gonna find a way. Okay, I know that because I know for a fact that this is a spiritual war, which is why our name is the War Campaign. I know that God is on our side. I know that the leadership of the leaders of this truckers freedom convoy are absolutely dedicated, and we've got a great team of lawyers and everything else, and they've been able to resolve many, many, many different challenges. So I'm full of faith. I know this is just another hurdle, and that we will have freedom in our time for our children. Hail the chat. Hail the War Campaign. Hail the War Campaign eternal. Hail my brethren. I'm very, very excited. As you can see, I'm full of fervor and feeling, and I know that we're all going to be together again in freedom. Hail, brethren. Thank you. Thank you for being here.